Yesterday was fine. Today I decide out of mind. Well, I laid it on the line. Life-changing decision, I was running out of time. They switched on me, yeah, the big homie. The moment I left, they dissed on me. Some was there for a reason. Think about it more, some was there for a season. No call, a good luck text when I was leaving.
The Las Vegas Raiders have a new interim head coach after recent reporting exposed the former locker room leader's series of emails containing derogatory terms. John Gruden resigned from the Raiders last night. A New York Times report showed he used misogynistic and homophobic language to criticize events and people in the NFL while he was a TV analyst. The emails stretched over a 7-year period. In a statement, the 58-year-old says he doesn't want to be a distraction, adding he's sorry and he, quote, never meant to hurt anyone. CBS News reached out to Gruden and the Raiders for comment, but have not heard back.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Word of Truth. This is the Purge. The episode today is called When Your Securities Become Unsecured. When your securities become insecure. Now, excuse me if you hear a bunch of noise in the background. It's very, very, very hard sometimes to get some peace and quiet and to get things done, but we're going to work through it, all right? That's what we do. We work through all the trials and tribulations and the distractions that may come along. Even before I even came into this recording, it was a small distraction and small discouragement. But see, there it is. But see, my thing is you push through. The message going to have to get through. So speaking on that, you just seen the video with John Gruden, and I had a video called The Unveiling. And the unveiling was the unveiling of things which they took down off of YouTube because it was just, I guess it was too hard, it was too much, or I don't know. But the unveiling of things, you're going to start seeing these type of accusations come upon a lot of these entertainers, and you're going to see a lot of people going against the machine, and these things going to come out. They're going to come out more frequently, and they slowly, incrementally are doing this, okay, on purpose, and getting people desensitized to certain things. You got to be careful when these accusations come out, and when celebrities come out as doing wrong things and doing secretive things. They're trying to desensitize you to that, That's why it's called the Purge. They letting out whatever they want to let out, and God's people is letting out whatever the Lord wants them to let out. They letting out evil, we letting out the word of God, and it's just that simple. In today's world, nobody is secured in their job. Nobody's secured in their position. People get so caught up in their position that they forget who gave them that position. The Lord gave you responsibilities, and if you can't handle those responsibilities will be taken away from you immediately. The Lord is not playing games with his word. He's not playing games with what he had accomplished and what he has finished. And he wants us to continue to spread the gospel and the word. And if you're not spreading the gospel and the word, then what are you doing? You understand what I'm saying? People are secured in their churches, right? And their position in churches. Your position in church has no significance in, I'm talking about when I say position, I mean your title, the name that they give you, assistant this, or, secretary this, or, this of ministries and that of ministries and all this stuff, right? Your position, your deaconship, your discipleship, right? Your position. People get caught up in their position and forget the word of the Lord. They think their position is more greater than the word, and they forget about it. Don't get too comfortable at your job. Don't get too comfortable, about your home and how great your home is, or how it may be great. It can be a deception, right? We have to, as Christians, we have to evaluate the scriptures and see if we're doing it the right way. A lot of us, and many of us, are doing it the wrong way. If we were doing it the right way, there will be no point of the Lord coming back. I'm going to say it again. If we were doing things the right way, there will be no point of the Lord coming back. If the church, right? The churches were doing according to the word, there will be no reason for the Lord to say, upon this rock I will build my church. There will be no reason for it. There will be no reason for truth if there wasn't false truth. Get what I'm telling you? So what I'm telling you is the prophecies are coming. When they say peace and safety, sudden destruction shall come, yes. When you think you're secured in life and you're set for life, something happens. You spin the block, something happens. Right? Once you spin the block, something happens. Right? You think you're secured. A lot of people, shout out to Hitman Holler and his girlfriend. Right? They had an incident. Someone breaking into their house. His girlfriend got shot in the mouth, and the bullet went through the back of her head. And by the grace of the Lord Savior Jesus Christ, she is alive. This ain't the first time I seen this. My homie got shot in the head. The bullet went through his head, through the back of his head. Amazingly, he survived. Was able to get on the bus and go to the hospital and check himself in and get treated. Amazing. That's the power of God. That's the type of moves that the Lord make, and he give you an opportunity to reevaluate it and say, wait a minute, that was the Lord. And some people change and some people don't. And at that point, when the Lord gives you life and you still go back to your regular old life, oh yes, sudden destruction is going to come. Yes, indeed, because you think you're in peace and you're safe, because you survive a horrific situation. But in truth, that was the Lord tapping you, saying, hey, if you don't get right, if you didn't get right, you would have been gone. And I was secured in a lot of my securities. I felt secured until they got tampered with. The truth of a person is not when they have everything. The truth of a person is when they don't have everything, when they lose everything. That's when you find out who's real and who's fake. Because a lot of people's securities are in this world. A lot of people's securities are in their family traditions or family rules, or whatever the case may be, right? The way they do things in their house. That's their securities. But once your daughter or your son start rebelling against you, start doing other things, you start seeing them doing things that you used to do when you're younger, and you see them rebelling. When you start seeing those things, when family members start going against each other, son-in-laws, mother-in-laws, daughter-in-laws, father-in-laws, uncle-in-laws, cousins, whoever, your church family, When you see that breaking up, in fact, the church is broken up, but when you see that happening inside your facility, what you call your safe place, and when you start seeing it around the world, it takes a cause to pause to say, wait, is this really happening? Right? Is this what the Lord said was going to happen is happening? Take a step back. Look at the world. Is the world secured? Or I put it to you like this. Does the world seem to you that they are in a rush or have some type of sense of urgency to live out the words of Christ? Just look around the world. Look in the churches. Look how much power the pulpit had before the pandemic, and look at it now after the pandemic. Just think about it. Yeah, in my church, we're doing good. We still hanging around, waiting for the government to open up. Compromise. When your securities become unsecured, people's securities are in their church. Now that there's no church really, you see what's going on. The veil has been removed, and you see the true state of the church. The church that people claim that we're in, that people claim that we are not Christ. See, the church was set for the assembly of believers, not non-believers, not people that half believe, sometime believe. No, people that believed. Before you even went into church in the biblical days, you had to believe. Yes, you got taught. You was an unbeliever. You didn't become a disciple unless you become a believer. And not how they do it today. Oh, you believe in Christ? Oh, you believe in God? Oh, you read the Bible? Oh, okay, you're a Christian. That's not a Christian. That's not a Christian. A Christian is a person that has a zeal for God, that follows the laws of the Lord, that follows the precepts of the scriptures, that go and search the scriptures daily to see what you have to kill within yourself. Every day we need reproof and refinement. It says, pray without ceasing. Are you talking to the Lord? Are you communing with the Lord daily? See, that should be your secure place. Not your family, not your friends, not your church people, which half of them are not believers, and not your pastor. Your pastor is not the Pope. You don't go to him for every problem. I'm sorry. I know that's what you've been taught. I know you've been under that ministry for 30 years, 20 years, 10 years. Yes, I'm saying it like that. Years. And still haven't gotten any good fruit. You got milk. You ain't get no meat. You still skinny. You got bones. You need to get some meat in you, some protein. You've been fed milk for 10 years, 20 years, and ain't got fat yet. But you're there stuffing your face after service, getting fat off of that grease. It does taste good. The church food does taste good. Don't get it twisted. I eat church food too. So, no, I'm not saying, eating is bad. But what I'm saying is the food that you're getting from the bread, the meal that you're getting from the pulpit, is it fulfilling? How far can it take you? Will you be hungry? The Lord said, once you drink of this fountain, drink of this water, you should never thirst again. Once you eat this bread, you should never hunger again. So what is your securities in? Is it in your job? People make provisions for things that the Lord never made provisions for. People made things a tradition in religion that God never made a tradition in religion in. Your securities is in the government? Are you sure? The government? Let's take a clip break and we'll come right back.
Welcome back. A bizarre lockdown at a Wyoming high school with a 16-year-old getting arrested and removed from campus in handcuffs for refusing to wear a mask. That student, Grace Smith, and her father, Andrew Smith, are with us now. Thanks to the both of you for being here. Grace, first question to you. Describe what happened.
I have been protesting the mask things with fellow students for the entire school year, and I went to school like normal, and I left first hour after coming back from my second suspension for them calling it a continued willful disobedience for not complying to the mask mandate. I had previously had one $500 citation, and during first hour, I went down to the front office and they locked me in the lunchroom before I was even suspended, and then gave me a second $500 citation for trespassing after my suspension, and then proceeded to arrest me after putting the school in lockdown for an hour and a half. Even though I was not a disturbance, I just sat in the lunchroom asking to go back to class.
Locked you away for all intents and purposes because you weren't wearing a mask. What's going through your head as this is happening?
I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. I wanted to go back to class just so I could learn, and I never thought that they would actually arrest me. It honestly really surprised me to see them put me in cuffs and take me to the jail.
Wow. Andrew, as a father, how tough is it to see your daughter being treated worse than actual criminals in our country are currently being treated right now?
Well, it's appalling, and frankly, we approach this from a perspective of constitutional law. And in the state of Wyoming, the constitutional law is not only designed to protect us as individual citizens of this state, but is also written that the state of Wyoming will step in and act on our behalf. And we're just appalled that through this whole process that nobody would step in and act on Grace's behalf and support her civil liberties that were guaranteed to her by the Constitution of Wyoming. And so it's been just amazing to witness from an outsider's perspective, and appalling, frankly, that they would take it this far, and that nobody through the entire administration, whether it be law enforcement officers, city police chief, county sheriff, governor's office, it didn't matter. Nobody was going to step in and help on her behalf.
Let's continue to view this through the prism of being a dad. Obviously, I've got a very, very young daughter, but I want to keep on this dad theme. What is your reaction to your daughter taking a stand like this?
She is a strong-willed child. She is brilliant and amazing. So my reaction through this whole process has been that of support, especially once we figured out that the mask policy was unlawful. Then we were all in, and we were going to do whatever it took. So boasting with pride, but we never thought that it would go this far. And I'm just so stinking proud of this girl for standing up for herself. And it's not just her, she's doing it for the civil liberties of every individual. So
let's quickly get in the Albany County School District statement. I'm going to paraphrase part of this. This morning at Laramie High School, there was a brief lockdown related to a student disciplinary disturbance in the main office. Goes on to have a few more details. All students are safe. The lockdown was issued in order to prevent further interruptions to academic learning. So there you have it there. Grace, would you do it again?
If I had to, yes, but at this point, it's not safe for me to be at school because there have been threats to my family, and there was a threat of a school shooting last Friday, so I won't be returning anytime super soon.
all over a mask. Final question to you, Grace. What's your message to those who feel that their rights are being trampled on, whether in this kind of a context or just in general?
I believe that every right that you feel is being infringed upon is worth fighting for. And my dad and I have closed off every meeting with a quote of Benjamin Franklin by saying, "Those who sacrifice a little bit of liberty for a little bit of safety deserve neither liberty nor safety."
What the heck are we doing that nice young ladies like yourself are being threatened? You have a gun threat all because you won't wear a mask. You're being locked away. It's a sad state of affairs. But Andrew and Grace, we appreciate you coming on this morning and sharing your story with us. Please come back. Keep us posted. We're curious as to how it's all going to play out.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Putting children in handcuffs because they don't have a mask. I mean, how far will this get them? You understand what I'm saying? We were secured before this happened. We was able to go outside and do whatever we want, go to school, do whatever we want. Now those securities has been taken away, and they put laws for those securities that we may not be secured in them ever again. As I went back and say, you know, a lot of our securities came from man-made things. Churches, work, you know, tradition of families, stuff like that. You know, this is sad that children now can't even enjoy themselves going to school. Some of these kids look forward to go to school. And that's a good thing. Some people say, oh, that's no, it's a good thing. I believe children are supposed to be in school so they can learn how the world works, be around different children, being around a different authority. It does make it. Some people say, well, why send your kids to school? Well, half of you parents are dumb as doorknobs. Y'all don't believe in the scriptures. You know, y'all lost. Half of you lost. Your children need to go somewhere else and learn. Right? I'm just being honest. I'm not being facetious. And half of them that say they don't want their kids to get away from them, I don't know, there's something wrong with them. I can't let my kid go. I can't let him go. You're too secured. You too secured in your security with your children. And you're afraid to let them go and go out and adventure and mess up and make mistakes. I made mistakes. You made mistakes. Your children are going to make mistakes. You can't save them from everything. When your securities become unsecured. Again, what did I say? What happens if your children don't become your security no more? They become unsecured. They become rebellious. Excuse all the noise in the background once again. They become rebellious. What you going to do then? You understand what I'm saying? When your securities become unsecured. What if your husband decides that he don't want to do certain things that you want to do anymore? That was your securities. What you going to do then? Divorce? That's out of the question. Female, male, you too, male. Just because you're the head of the house, you're secured in that position, doesn't mean that position can't be taken away and somebody can be in your place. That's truth. Some of you are heads of houses and churches and jobs, and y'all teaching and leading the wrong way. Let's go to the next clip.
Have an update tonight on the two dogs credited with attacking an intruder in their home.
And since our story aired last night, Coweta County Animal Control and the Sheriff's Office has been flooded with phone calls and emails from people worried about the welfare of the dogs. Fox 5's Doug Evans has the update.
The story has made headlines around the country. Two dogs killing an intruder in their Coweta County home. Many have hailed the dogs as heroes and have expressed outrage that they were locked up afterwards. Those 2 dogs remain at Coweta County's Animal Control. What we've learned is that is standard procedure for any dog bite case in the county, mainly to determine if the dogs have rabies. It's a 10-day quarantine. Coweta County Animal Control says they've been in contact with the owner, who says the dogs will be going home with him at the end of the quarantine period next week. Fox 5 first broke the story of the 2 dogs who authorities say mauled an intruder to a home here last Friday. The homeowner returned to the house on Walt Sanders Road and found the man dead on the front porch. Investigators say there was evidence that he had been inside the home when attacked. The dogs had been locked up inside when the homeowner had left. On social media across the country, many people expressed outrage that the dogs had been locked up at the animal shelter and their future seemed uncertain. Both Coweta County Animal Control and the Sheriff's Office says they were flooded with calls and emails expressing concern for the dogs. The Sheriff's Office released a statement Thursday saying they have no holds on the dogs because of their investigation and that the dogs were free to be released after the mandatory 10-day quarantine period. The dead man has been identified as 21-year-old Alex Abraha of Atlanta. How he got to the home, his motive for entering, remain a mystery. Doug Evans, Fox 5 News.
You got to be careful when you break into people's houses. I mean, what I got to say about this, you get what you get what's coming to you. You break in somebody's house, if you get shot, you get ate up, that's your problem. You had no business breaking into somebody's house. I don't feel bad. But he's a black man. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad. If a black man come in my house, I'm gonna shoot without, he breaking into my house. If he break into my house, I'm gonna shoot him. Period. End of discussion. It's nothing to discuss. He got what was coming to him. The dogs wasn't wrong. They was there to protect the house. So if I shoot somebody, do my gun go to jail? They broke in my house. What you want me to do? What you want the dogs to do? Sit there, oh, well, it's okay. Pet us, feed us, take what you want. We ain't gonna bother you. No, them dogs was trained to kill any intruder. And I applaud them on that. Next clip.
Breaking news coming out of Buckhead. That's where a woman ejected from a Lamborghini has died.
Yeah, police say it's too early to know if the woman was pushed or jumped out of the moving car. Good Day's Mark Teichner has the latest on the investigation. He joins us live this morning from APD's Zone 2 precinct. Mark, good morning, and what have you learned?
Well, good morning, guys. And what they are saying is this woman was involved in some kind of fight or altercation with the man who was driving that car. And they're trying to determine if he pushed her out or maybe if she jumped out to get away from that fight.
Cell phone video shows Atlanta police working the scene. They tell us late Monday night, a 28-year-old Metro Atlanta woman started fighting with a man. At some point, they both got into a white convertible Lamborghini. Detectives think the altercation continued inside the car. At the Buckhead intersection of Peachtree and Piedmont, the woman was ejected from the Lambo. Paramedics rushed her to Grady. Sadly, doctors were unable to save her life. The Lamborghini fled from the scene. Now investigators are trying to figure out if the woman jumped out of the moving car or was pushed. They say the victim wasn't shot, stabbed, or run over by any other cars. Police are looking at nearby surveillance video and talking to witnesses, but at least for now have not released any driver description or license plate information.
Police also not releasing the name of the victim. If we do get an update on the investigation, we will let you know that new information as soon as it comes in. Reporting live from Buckhead, I'm Mark Teichner for Good Day Atlanta.
Again, when your securities become unsecured, what I can see happening on this situation with this girl being ejected from the Lamborghini, seems like she was a successful, Instagram model, and she got too comfortable in that lifestyle and got into some trouble, ran into a fella, and this happened, right? This dog trying to get on me. So you're never secured. Get down. So you never secured Even that Lamborghini don't secure anything. I don't know what happened, but I know she was comfortable. I know that whatever happened must have, I don't know. All I have to say is prayers go out to the victims, to the mother of this child, to the father of this child. If she have any sisters or brothers or siblings, aunts, uncles, nieces, my condolences, right? This is a tragic situation, and a lot of things have been happening in Atlanta lately, so I'm keeping my eye out on that. God judge cities and towns and stuff like that, so I gotta stay prayed up, so so none of those things come near, none of those evils come near my house. That's why I'm constantly aware, constantly just watching, because that's what the Lord tells us to do. Watch, see what's going on around you in your neck of the woods. Next clip.
This is not your normal company team bonding.
This is the best joint I've ever made. Probably not the best one at the table.
But for this public relations firm, this is how they do it.
So just throw the weed in the grinder, close it up, and just grind it up as best you can.
What is the purpose of this, though?
Part of our company culture is that we like to do team building activities, and working in the cannabis industry, what better way than to learn how to roll a joint?
And has everybody done it before here?
Most people. We have a couple newbies today.
Who's the newbies?
I have not done it before.
That is Trisha White, a newly hired junior accounts executive.
So this is my first job.
This is your first job?
My first real job.
And this is your first time rolling a joint?
It is my first time rolling a joint. A lot of firsts going on.
It's because of this woman, Rosie Matteo. She hired Trisha to join her PR firm. They represent 60 companies that all work in the cannabis industry and hope they can help weed become less taboo at other workplaces, too.
I much prefer, as a CEO of a company, to have my employees go out after work and consume cannabis and do things together, as opposed to, going out and having some drinks and coming in hungover the next day. So I think people need to look at this as just a different culture now. Cannabis is part of mainstream culture, and we're embracing that as well.
Just how big of a business are we talking about?
This year alone, cannabis industry in the U.S. will do $24 billion, according to estimates. 5 years from now, $100 billion. There are no other industries that are growing at this pace.
The receptiveness to marijuana is only increasing. This is the climb in America's support. 30 years ago, 16%. Today, about 2/3 of Americans. And now some major corporations are adjusting with the times. Amazon, the biggest, saying in a statement this summer, "We've changed course. We will no longer include marijuana in our comprehensive drug screening program and will instead treat it the same as alcohol use." In just a day, the NBA saying it will not subject players to random drug tests for marijuana this season.
Companies are coming to grips with the fact that society has changed its view of marijuana usage dramatically.
And laws in cities and states are changing too.
Here in New York, a company cannot fire you for using marijuana outside of work hours. And if you're applying for a job, that company, they can't turn you down because of a positive test.
But most states have yet to grant those protections, and many companies are able to rely on federal drug testing laws for safety-sensitive jobs.
Federal rules require substance testing for certain kinds of jobs, like truck drivers.
Essentially, your message to employers is get used to this.
The tide is changing. People are choosing cannabis, and employers have to embrace that if they want great talent.
Matteo is paving the way for some other employers just to get with it.
Cheers.
All right, Vaughn Hillier joins us now on set. Vaughn, I'm sure that was a fun story to cover. I think it's interesting that all of those people were totally cool and fine with us doing the story and appearing on camera. It shows how far we've come, I think, as a country with marijuana. But I'm curious, do the employers that allow this, do they find that maybe sometimes employees take it too far, they get high at work, come into work high, those kinds of things?
Right, and of course, these protections don't extend to being intoxicated in the workplace, whether it be alcohol or whether it be cannabis. At the same time, there are some certain jobs in which federal regulations will still apply.
truck drivers, subway operators, pilots. There are federal regulations in place. Even if you're in one of these localities or in a state in which there are these employment protections, some of those types of jobs, we call them, right, these safety specific jobs, those individuals still are not, because marijuana is still illegal at a federal level, those do not apply to them.
Well, this is a subject that I've been waiting to touch on. Just touch on. I'm not going to go too deep in it. But what I will say is this: there's a lot of hypocrites out there, right? You know, there's a lot of hypocrisy behind substance abuse, drug abuse, alcohol abuse. You know, there's a lot of misinformation. There's people that tell you these are things that I hear people say. If you drink, you're a sinner. If you smoke, you're a sinner. The Bible never said that. It's not what you do, the Bible says this. It made it clear. It's not what you put in your body. It's what comes out, right? It's not what goes into the mouth. It's what goes out, right? Now, we all know, logically, certain things that we ain't supposed to definitely not use, because we definitely seen the fruit of some of these things, right? These substances and these drugs and alcohol. We seen what crack does to people. I seen what drug abuse did to my mother, and drug abuse did to my neighborhood. Crack and cocaine and stuff like that, heroin, right? We know those things you don't touch, right? There's nothing good that comes from that, even though they can use it for medical purposes, right? But nothing good comes out of that, right? So when people sit there and say, well, if you drink and smoke, you know, you're a sinner. And people actually believe that. And some people go out there and say, well, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I'm good. That's not true. The Lord never said that. In fact, when he's talking about getting drink and strong drink, sometimes he was talking about other doctrines, right? Strong doctrines, other doctrines, right? But in another sense, he was talking about the actual drink. Now, at the wedding, God brought wine to the wedding. Jesus brought wine to the wedding. Is they condemned to hell? They did drink that day. In many feast days, they ate and they drank. Wine was, you know, they used alcohol and all that stuff back in the day. Some smoked probably back in the day. Who knows, right? But if I want to give you a description, what I mean, Noah, remember, was building the ark. After he built the ark, he decided to give him a couple of drinks. He wanted to relax, just like we do after we finish work during the day or during the week. We want to have a drink. We want to sit down, chill out, right? Noah did that, passed out, right? His son came in, saw his nakedness. Whatever he did to him is what he did to him, right? But not once the Lord condemned Noah for drinking, and that may caused his son to commit a sinful act on him. Because if he wasn't drunk, his son wouldn't have committed a sinful act, right? But the Lord never condemned Noah for drinking. He condemned the sinner. There's many examples, right? But that's the most notable one, and that's in the beginning of Genesis. That's in not beginning of Genesis, but that's in Genesis, the first book. So when people talk about drugs and alcohol and substance abuse or whatever the case may be, there's levels to it, right? You have some people that can drink and maintain. There's some people that can smoke and maintain. Me, I don't care about what you do on your private time, as long as you're not sinning unto the Lord. The Lord said, whatever you do, let it be glory unto him. Meaning, when you drink, you ain't say, "Oh, hallelujah, thank God I'm drinking." No, that's not what he mean by that. What he mean by it is be responsible. He means be responsible. He didn't say drink till you till you collapse. Stop. Will you stop being so hype? So, you know how I feel. Shut up. So, when I talk about, you know, substance abuse, you know, I'm not worrying about people that drink and smoke. People cuss and say and have vulgar conversations every day, right? You know, so there's many things you can tackle people on. The Lord is worrying about your spiritual being. You gonna make mistakes. You're gonna do things in the flesh, no doubt about it, right? But having drugs and alcohol in the workplace, I don't think is good. I think if you do those things, if you drink or you smoke, you should do it in the privacy of your own time, not not where places where you may be condemned, right? If you're gonna do it, be out of the way, be discreet, right? That's part of whatever you do unto the glory of the Lord, right? Meaning you just don't be out in the open and you don't say, "Oh, let's have a drink, let's drink everybody. Posting it on Instagram, posting your weed, posting your alcohol, posting your cigarettes or whatever else you want to post, right? Whatever you do, let it be glorified unto the Lord. You be a representation, right? You be a representation, right? So you can't be a preacher on Instagram being drunk and then the following day you preach and you're supposed to think people take you seriously. No, you're going to deceive some people, and you're going to be the reason why people think it's good to drink and smoke every day and stuff like that. Whether you do that or not, that's your business, but don't be a promoter of it. That's what it is. Don't be a promoter of things that may condemn you to hell. That's why I don't promote Black Lives Matter. I don't promote LGBTQ. I don't promote these politicians. I don't promote traditions. I don't promote none of those things. You won't see me promoting none of those things. What I do is what I do, and what you do is what you do. But what you do unto the Lord, that's unto the Lord. And that's just truth. So I don't have a problem with people having a business, you know, cannabis business, alcohol business. That's their business. I have nothing to do with that. They gotta feed their kids. I gotta feed my kids. Right? Who am I to judge? You know, you got that calls for discernment. Without judging off of tangibles. I don't judge off of tangibles. Not so much. I judge it against tangibles when it comes to the works, because we like to use works as a reason to be, you know, who we are, and we're saved because of works. We're not saved because of works. We saved because of the faith that we have through grace. We have faith, and we have grace through faith. And the reason why we have faith through grace, because we believe upon the words of the Lord. And to believe upon the words of the Lord is to actually believe it and do it and preach it, right? And live it. That's a Christian. You don't go outside. You don't go in the middle. You stay right on track. You don't go outside. You don't go inside the outside. You stay right on track. Stay on track with the Lord. Don't do no twists, no turns. Stay on track. That's the best way you can beat the devil. Flee from his evil ways. I've done evil things in my life, and I flee from them fast. And trust and believe when I tell you, when I flee from these things, a whole new world opened up. A whole new discernment opened up. The way I think now, I wouldn't be able to think. I'm not thinking The way I think now is not the way I thought about 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I probably was still in the same state. Right? I never feel as though I'm secured in my space. I feel as though I always have to prove to the Lord that I am His. I always feel that way. I always feel it's my duty to make sure that I'm walking in the words of the Lord and not the words of man. So that's just the way it is. And I thank the Lord for that. Thank the Lord for all His wonderful patience and everything He has done for me. He's been graceful, He's been merciful, and He showed me a lot of things. I never feel as though I'm secured. I feel as though that I am still in the same state. I ain't nothing until the Lord put that crown on my head and says, welcome to my home, to my paradise. That's what I'm waiting for. That's my security right there. And I think I'm going to leave it right there. There's more ways I can go into it more. But what for? The Lord is my light, my salvation. And that's all it is. This is where the truth, right on time. This is where the truth. God bless you all. Told you, distractions. 1.
What's the hate about? Cause you stuck in your position. Let's talk about it. Look at what I'm facing. Shh. Why they quiet hating? I find it quite amazing. Evil looks like I'm mama's favorite.
Fresh out the pen, fresh out with new lines, fresh out with a new view of seeing. Gonna be hard to pay God's fines. No line, I was a bad booger. Like my old life just gotta go. Should've called me the hamburger love. The truth only God.